On a quiet November night in 2014, a small community in Springfield, Tennessee was rocked by an unimaginable crime. A calm yet chilling 911 call came through in the early hours, leaving dispatchers and authorities stunned. The caller, 45-year-old Joseph Parker, confessed to a heinous act. He claimed to have shot his wife, Samantha Parker, and left her body in a freezer. What followed was a haunting sequence of events that would leave investigators and the public grappling with questions of motive, mental stability, and the devastating effects of domestic violence. A terrifying 911 call. At 2:45 a.m. on November 7, 2014, Joseph Parker dialed 911. His voice was calm, eerily so, as he began recounting his actions. He explained that 2 nights prior, he had shot his wife in the temple of her head, believing he had killed her. But when he checked on her in the freezer, she was still alive despite being frozen solid for 2 days. "It's amazing she's still alive," he remarked in an unsettlingly detached tone. Joseph provided specific details about the crime scene. He claimed to have broken Samantha's wrist while moving her body into the freezer and insisted he still loved her despite his actions. He repeatedly urged the dispatcher to send help, leaving the house unlocked with the lights on so emergency responders could find Samantha. Discovering the scene, police arrived at the Parker residence shortly after receiving Joseph's call. The house was unnaturally clean, with no visible signs of a struggle or physical altercation. However, small bloodstains were found on the floor and carpet, leading investigators to suspect an attempt to sanitize the crime scene. In the garage, the officers found Samantha's body in a freezer, frozen to the touch, with a gunshot wound to her temple. Parts of her body had been dismembered, including her lower leg and right foot, which investigators theorized Joseph had cut off to fit her into the freezer. The gruesome discovery confirmed Joseph's confession, but it also raised more questions than answers. What had driven this seemingly ordinary man to commit such a brutal act? The investigation would uncover layers of financial struggles, psychological instability, and escalating domestic tensions that culminated in the tragic murder of Samantha Parker. Joseph Parker, a man in decline. Joseph Parker had no significant criminal history, apart from a minor drug possession charge in 1987 when he was 20 years old. To those who knew him, he seemed like a regular individual. However, his behavior in the months leading up to the crime had become increasingly erratic. Joseph had recently lost his job as a car salesman at Gate Toyota in Metro Nashville. Former coworkers later described him as quiet and withdrawn, exhibiting unusual behavior as financial pressures mounted. The family home was in foreclosure, and his stepdaughter revealed that the household was under significant economic strain. Joseph's sister, Patty, speculated that these stresses may have contributed to his mental and emotional decline. The investigation also uncovered that Samantha had been planning to leave Joseph. On the night of the murder, she had sent text messages to a friend expressing fear for her safety. "I've got to go somewhere, he's crazy," she wrote. However, another text, seemingly sent by Samantha shortly afterward, contradicted her earlier message, stating that she had decided to stay. Investigators suspect Joseph intercepted her phone, fueling the volatile situation that ended in her death. A calculated fugitive. After making the 911 call, Joseph fled the scene, refusing to disclose his location. Investigators traced his phone to a spot near the interstate, about 12 miles from his home. When contacted by dispatchers, Joseph claimed he was heading to Chattanooga to visit friends. However, his movements suggested a more erratic plan. As the search for Joseph intensified, fears grew that he might harm others. Former coworkers at Gate Toyota recalled their unease, given his recent behavior and grievances about losing his job. Police issued a be-on-the-lookout alert for Joseph, describing him as a potential threat. Meanwhile, his sister, Patty, received a disturbing call from him in which he admitted to the crime but showed little remorse. "She's dead. They didn't get to her in time," he told her, as if unaware of the gravity of his actions. The final manhunt. Joseph's movements remained unpredictable. At one point, he checked into a hotel in Goodlettsville, only a short drive from the crime scene. Police struggled to anticipate his next move, with some fearing he might target former coworkers or others he held responsible for his troubles. Rivergate Toyota, his previous workplace, heightened security, locking gates and stationing undercover officers to monitor the premises. At 3:42 a.m., investigators tracked Joseph's phone again, this time near Interstate 65 in Kentucky. The Bolo alert was updated, and police prepared to apprehend him. Despite their best efforts, Joseph managed to elude capture for several more hours, fueling concerns about his intentions. A tragic end. The pursuit came to a grim conclusion later that day. When police finally caught up to Joseph's vehicle, he was parked on the side of Interstate 65. Officers approached cautiously, hoping to end the standoff peacefully. However, Joseph had decided that this was the end of the line. Before police could intervene, he used the same .38 caliber handgun he had used to kill Samantha to take his own life. Inside his car, investigators found evidence of substance use, including a mirror with a white powdery residue and a short straw. Toxicology reports later revealed that Joseph had several medications in his system at the time of his death, raising further questions about his mental state in the days leading up to the crime. The aftermath. Joseph Parker's actions left a community in shock and a family devastated. Samantha Parker, a 44-year-old mother, was remembered as a kind and loving individual whose life was tragically cut short. Her death highlighted the often hidden realities of domestic violence and the devastating consequences it can have. For investigators and those who knew the Parkers, the case remains a chilling reminder of how personal struggles and untreated mental health issues can escalate into violence. Joseph's calm demeanor during the 911 call, his detailed confession, and his ultimate suicide painted a haunting picture of a man who had lost his grip on reality. Lessons from tragedy. The Parker case underscores the importance of addressing signs of domestic abuse and mental instability before they escalate into violence. Domestic violence often starts subtly, with emotional manipulation or minor incidents that escalate over time. Friends, family members, and even coworkers who notice troubling behavior or warning signs, such as isolation, controlling tendencies, or sudden emotional outbursts, should feel empowered to intervene. Open conversations, while difficult, can sometimes prevent the worst from happening. Those who suspect abuse should also seek help from authorities or local support organizations trained to handle these situations with care. Additionally, this case highlights the critical role of mental health services in preventing such tragedies. Access to counseling, therapy, and crisis intervention could potentially mitigate the stresses that lead to such violent outbursts. Creating an environment where seeking help is normalized and encouraged is essential. Employers, schools, and community centers can play a role in offering mental health resources and workshops to raise awareness about domestic violence and the importance of mental well-being. Samantha's story is a sobering reminder of the need for vigilance and compassion in addressing the complexities of human relationships. Her death serves as a call to action for communities to support victims of domestic violence, advocate for mental health awareness, and provide resources for individuals struggling with emotional and psychological challenges. Building stronger support networks can save lives and help families avoid similar tragedies in the future. A community in mourning. Following Samantha's tragic death, the Springfield community united in grief, holding candlelight vigils and memorials to honor her memory. She was remembered as a compassionate mother who deeply touched those around her. The tragedy sparked discussions about domestic violence and mental health, prompting community leaders to raise awareness and advocate for prevention efforts. Joseph's actions left many bewildered, struggling to reconcile his seemingly calm demeanor with the horrific crime. While some cited his financial and personal struggles as contributing factors, others believed no circumstance could justify his actions. As Springfield mourned, it also sought healing through churches, counseling centers, and support groups. The tragedy reinforced the need for vigilance, empathy, and stronger community ties to prevent such devastating events in the future. And that's the chilling story of Joseph and Samantha Parker. If this case left you speechless, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more gripping true crime stories. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.